YouTube, you never cease to amaze me with your stupidity. How many? And now, and once again, people are making false DMCA claims, and this time it's Sony, and you're doing nothing. Sony is false flagging Heels vs. Baby X and Geeks and Gamers and all these others because they are talking about Last of Us 2 leaks that got out because you didn't do your due diligence and didn't make sure your files and your things were secure so someone couldn't hack it and leak it. And now, because people are hearing spoilers about what happens since the game is only a couple weeks for a month from being out, the good chances that probably a large percent of those spoilers, which I won't go into, to a decent amount of them, are probably going to be things that actually end up happening in the story of the sequel game. So shame on you, Sony. That's not people's fault. That's your fault. You got hacked because you dropped the ball. You got hacked. You weren't paying attention to security. You got hacked. And now, in order to save your bottom line and increase your profits, you're now going about it the cowardice way, false flagging something. Sony, that is the kind of underhanded things that the studios like EA did, like EA and Bioware and Bethesda did. And technically, this is not, and technically, Sony, I think this is technically your second time false flagging stuff because you also are partners with Square Enix because all the Final Fantasy games after 6 were all on Sony systems. They were all on PS1 and PS2 with the exception of some spin-offs. There were some occasional spin-offs that weren't on Sony systems, like Crystal Chronicles. That had a GameCube release at one point, and then it had a reformatted re-release for like the Switch recently. So was Final Fantasy Original 7, 9, 10, and 10-2 got releases a while back, and then there was a re-release the Square also did of Final Fantasy VIII, which is either a remaster that is either already out or something, and those were Square Enix. And Square Enix, you work with Sony, they're like one of your partner companies, and they were false flagging / threatening to sue people because that were showing the ending of the Final Fantasy reboot, 7 reboot, because people didn't like things about the ending, and you didn't want them telling those stupid things because you were afraid it would hurt your sales for the remake and for the future episodic parts of it. So this is like the second time this year you've done this, and you should know better, Sony. You're going to lose a lot of money. You are not making enough money off of your movies and other things outside of your game to justify this kind of scummy actions. Please, Sony, you do not want to, with how far behind you and all the competition is with the coronavirus, you cannot afford to have any form of negative PR that will hurt your sales in any form. You gotta be more careful, Sony. This is your second time mistake you've made after the Final Fantasy thing. And you're not gonna go bankrupt, but this could drastically hurt your earnings for the year. They could be significantly down because of this crud that you've done twice. Please, Sony, wise up. This is Slayer the 35. Have a nice day. And Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, Heels vs. Babyface, and all the other people that got hacked, you have my 100% complete and total sympathies. I can understand how much monetization means, even though I never made a cent the whole time I've been on YouTube. All 12 years of it. But I understand how much that hurts you and how much of an inconvenience that is, and you have my 100% total sympathy. And I feel bad for all of you, and you never should have lost your monetizations, yet alone got copyright strikes that you did not deserve. Shame on you, Sony. You know better. Knock it off.